Alright, I got through and cleaned up all the tracks. They really didn't have that much. Most of it was in the back here, but on most of them, except for maybe one or two, it gave me a little bit of trouble. Most of it I just crushed and it just crumbled off. And don't have to do too much cleaning up back here because all the insides are all going to be hidden. The only one you might see is these inside ones. Now, these are the inside tracks. They have the higher points for these to glue down, for these to be sitting like that. And then we put the cover plate on there, which that one's a little weird how that one goes launching way up there, and that's the only one I see doing that, so we might got a little skewed on something. There's got to be a difference because there's a notch. Two go one way and one go the other, so there's got to be a difference. And I'll have to see if it tells you, it shows you. Yeah, we'll have to take a good look at all that and see how those fit, because it might be a situation like that, because there are left and right tracks, and I don't think I marked them. You're going to know by the way they're facing. Like, well, we'll worry about that in a sec. That might be what it is, because two of these cover plates have a notch there, like that one's that one. These two are similar, and these two are similar. Now, where's the one that's in question? That one. So with that, like that, it's that way. Nope, it sets better that way. So it's, yeah, it's that one sets way better. So it's a situation. I figure one side would be a little bit different. So that's all we have to keep an eye out for. The pipe, I got, believe it or not, this brass tube was cheaper than a wood dowel. But it's 20 millimeters. It fits in great. Well, I shouldn't say great, not on that one at least. But it fits in okay on this printed side, but where it sat on the bed, we probably have a little bit of warping, or an elephant's foot or something, you know, since, I mean, it was supported, so it should have printed it pretty close, but I measured it, it's only a hair off. And just by sticking the pipe in there, I was getting it down further. There we go. Yeah, it seems to be at that same layer. And is it pretty much the same on every one of them at the same spot? So we'll have to just round the file in there a little bit. And then it's the same with the front, the outer tracks. That one's really tight. I think I got one in further. Yeah, so we'll have to, that's a good way to mark how, where I have to file. It's just the push and turn, and it leaves a little mark where we gotta give it a little more tension. Trying to see if there's ones that fit better than the others. Yeah, and then you can tell that those don't go together because the holes don't line up. So these two are track. So we almost should get these in order. And you can just go by the bars. They continue through. So there would be a pair. Believe it or not, this thing rides on the smaller area of the track. Always feels like it should be the bigger part of the tread would be down, but that's not how this one does. But then it makes more sense that you would have that, because then it can climb up on things instead of like this, and it only has that little bit of tread there. So there's going to be a pair. There's a pair. There, and you. There's a lot of track. Alright, so we got to mainly clean out those holes and then try to get this rod in there and then cut. I glued the back to the front built plate here. Gotta be careful. Fragile detail still back here. It glued. The detail back here glued on nice and stiff. Everything's a lot stiffer now, but they're still very fragile. But like I said, I got this super glued, so it's not 100% secured. I'm gonna go and take some epoxy and get it in the seams here and go all the way around and maybe even hit up in here as well. But there, I'm liking how that looks, because I do have a plate. We do have that plate that has to go back here that starts the interior. So right now that super glue's soaked down in, and it's not causing me any problems here. So I think I'll stay with super glue, maybe hitting these corners. Yeah, and I want to get as much epoxy, because I'm not trusting super glue to do the job, because that is a pivot point. I mean, we do have part of this in here to help support it, but it's only in the center. We'll get one of these outside walls up, and then that'll help square it. And that's another reason why I'm holding off on the epoxy, because the super glue now I can still kind of, we're not quite square. I did a dry fit of a wall and we got a little gap up here, so we're gonna have to push up to get that wall to go in. So I'll get the pins for that and for down here, and we'll glue that wall in, and then glue its interior side too, because it's not only just an outside wall, there's a detail, like a thin part like this that goes on there. But if we get the main part of the wall, we can get this square. Oh, let's see how's this pipe going into these. We didn't even try these yet. We're getting through almost all the way in that one. I think there's just one burr right there. So we'll have to, and it's probably mainly it had to print supports in these holes, so it's probably just support debris. But yeah, I'm getting further and further through just by sticking the rod in there and twisting it, because it is sharp. There it goes. Now we're through. Yep. And that's going to be looking like the rod. So that's good. I don't have to do as much, at least on that one. Just the sharpness of the pipe cleaned that out. And like I said, I'm going to try to leave this all free so that the tracks can actually go up and down. Like if I want to do a diorama and have it on uneven ground, I can have, like, you know, this set of tracks will be able to kind of do that. I'm not going to do them where they're all individual, because it's set up to glue together. But at least this set of tracks and then the inner pair, you know, at least in groups of two, like this one and this one, I can have move up and down a little bit, would be cool. So if I don't have to glue them and I can just get it to length and it's tight ski, that's great. And then I can even pull them off if I need to. That would be great as well. This one I got pretty well cleaned up. I just got to clean the stuff out of. I just got to pop these guys out. On there. But I've been doing most of that off camera because it's quite boring. And then we got like it builds little supports into the bigger panel gaps, and you can pretty much just get in there and just take a scraping tool and just pop them all out. Because I know I'm going to have fun cleaning all these windows, but I think now that I'm starting to learn how to, because all that support in there, it was tough. But you can't get rid of that until you get them out of these windows. I think this side I got clean. And I'll just probably hit with the torch. Give it a light sand and hit with the torch, and it makes it blend right in. That is the cockpit area, and then I did the open ceiling or open roof so we can see down there. I gotta put that other, there's that one detail piece that I did in resin. But I'm gonna get these filed so we can get start gluing these together, but we got to get them filed so this goes through. Hopefully I can use my Dremel and a disc, sanding disc. Like I said, it doesn't need much. I could probably sit here and I don't know if I'm going to be able to force it through like I did on the inner parts. Seems like we had a little more misshaping from them sitting like that, the way they printed. And especially since there's a track edge here, so it wasn't like this whole thing was against the floor. It actually had to build the support high enough for these track edges. So you had some dimension there, instead of it just being completely flat. So like I said, I'm probably just on these sides here. I'm going to just run a Dremel until it fits through. So that didn't go too bad. What I'm doing is just going like that, and then I'm taking my Dremel and just reaming it a little bit until it keeps coming through, and even the pipe itself will sand things through. And then I'm also making sure it goes through cleanly through the other way, because that's the way it's really going to push through. So that really wasn't too bad. Like I said, it was only a fraction out, enough to be stubborn. See that side. So I just got this last track, so let's start with the inside. So yeah, I'll just kind of stick that down, and then it kind of gives me an idea of where I have to hit the most. Because I want them pretty snug. I don't want these things weeble wobbling on the rod. So, but the nice thing is this pipe actually, since it's got a sharp edge, when you do that, it lets you know how where you got to really spend most of your attention. Sometimes it is good. Come in from that side, and then I just keep trying. A lot of times I just get a little further and further. Yeah, like I'm almost at the end there. Got a little something there going that way. That's why I wanted to make sure I go both ways, because installation of these tracks is going to be from the back of them. There it goes. And this is the way it's going to get snagged. But that's letting me know where. I need to spend a little attention. There it goes. And see, I cleaned out all that. And I just keep doing that, giving it a little bit of a tilt if you can, in different ways. And try going back in this way. And now you can see it's getting easier and easier. And that should do that one. Now, hopefully when these glue up, probably what I should do when I am gluing these up is actually put the rod through. Oh, this one we hadn't done yet. Is put the rod through, and then that gets everybody lined up. We'll also have these pins, if I decide to go with those pins. Let's see how well those line us up. Here's the ones that are done. Let's see. I think it'd be easier just to, like that, and then glue them. I'm wondering if I should make a spacer here for the first track. Nothing but a ring. I could print 4 of those up probably fairly quick. And it just needs to be a little bit bigger than this detail. Actually, not much more than that, because this does raise out too. You know, maybe 2 millimeters. Well, we got to count for the inset of the track, so maybe 4. That way it keeps this one against something. Yeah, it won't scrape this detail, and then I still have that travel. But yeah, we can start gluing these together. I think we'll do, like I said, we'll stick her in there all the way, and then we'll try these dowel holes too. That one's being a little hard to see because it also built a support on it. Yeah, there they are. Hopefully it picked the center hole, but I'm thinking it's going to pick the least of resistance, so that one definitely did because it's burying itself down pretty quick. All we have to do is these here locating pins are fit to use scrap filament. But I'm just reaming the holes a little more. And then you just take just like we did on the some of those detail parts, you just stick that in there and we'll cut it, and then that should line up there. Now just give us lining up points. I'm even going to do that on these. Just drill that. You can see the hole really good on this side. And we'll stick filament in there so we can line it up for those. And then I'm just going to clip it and you just hit it with a little heat to give it a little cap, almost like a little mushroom cap, so it looks kind of like a rivet with a cap on it, or a bolt or something. Hopefully that works. But nothing to it but to glue it, I guess. Well, okay, these guys are glued. This one is been glued a second ago. What I'm doing is making sure these holes are clear, cutting a little filament and putting them in there for my registry points, and also making sure that this is able to fit a piece of filament in it. That one looks a little clogged. Oh, no, it's gone there. Alright. Probably should do a dry fit to make sure I didn't make these too long. I mean, I can drill these really deep because you got all this here, so it's not a big deal. All right, we're ready to. This one we can. And I've been sticking these down just to help line them up too. And you actually sit like that. And you're actually this side because I think, if I remember correctly, all these long ones are faced the front. That's upside down too. Alright, so let's get this last one glued together. So you're that side. The left side, left side, left side. I should put little L's in there. I need to get a paint marker. That way I can do stuff like that. Especially with this stuff, paint regular marker won't really show up. It's already the darkest color, black. Alright, so I already got those glued in, so I've been really gluing this inner track. Mainly not really worried about the tube here. I'll kind of dab a spot or two. And then just run my finger over it. Because I don't want any to go on the inside and cause a problem. Alright, and we'll put a little dab on our filament, that's our registry pins. Because they'll give it the strength, I'm hoping they'll give it the strength that it needs. We're upside down. We gotta kind of be fast, and the filament has, probably should have started with this one. The filament kind of has that curve from being spooled. So I kind of try to get them to work against each other. And then this will help line it up. And press and wiggle. And that's basically it. And like I said here, I'll put those little registries for these. And then I think if I just lightly torch them to give them a little bit of a mushroom cap, they'll look like a rivet or a bolt or something. And there we go. Seen a little oozing of glue? Yeah, but not enough that you'd visually be like, oh, what a sloppy gluer. And we're set up. So we'll let that set like that. I still always put the bigger part on the bottom. That's not how these tracks work. Alright, let's, I'm going to pretty much end it there, but let's get these guys all up on the track, and then we can, once we get all this up on the track, we can put this part that goes underneath it. It'll kind of go like this. You got the open, I did an open hatch. You can print different ones where you can have the hatch. Well, you want the hatch on one side or the other. I wish they would have gave you one with hatch open on both sides. I don't think they did. I think he just gave you where you could have all of the hatches closed or one of them open, but you can choose which side just by spinning it around, and then I'll have the ladder for the Jawas to get in, and then there'll be the droid things that suck them up. But we really can't center all that until we get these guys on. But yeah, this is just gonna go right there, and I'll pick which side I want the open hatch. I'm probably gonna do the left side, I think. You know, you never really know which way that the sandcrawler is when they show them having the droid R2 get sucked up and you see them going up inside here. You never really do see which side, so it doesn't really matter. Probably should put this on last and then see which side I like, you know, which is the hero side. But so far they've been coming out pretty even. And also, I want to get in here and putty this seam. We're definitely gonna, once we get a wall here to square it, probably should get both walls in to square both sides, and then we'll put some epoxy in here. We can work it down the seam, and then we'll work it in this gap. Like I said, I couldn't sand that completely tight because it was gonna mess with our alignment. Because really, it was good in the center, even though it's high in the center. It's these ends that curled a little bit. But yeah, we got some work to do down here. Get this with some epoxy, and then we'll sand it, and then if we have to hit it with some, filler to make it nice and smooth. Most of the tracks, which now will be this way, most of the track will pretty much cover it anyway, so. But we can do this just for show and put this really long axle on this. Just gotta be careful all that piping up there. Left side, these should be the right side, and then since maybe I should try it this way because then I can think better. There we go. Facing forward. Yep. So there we go. So this one goes on here. According to the picture, this is towards the front. Yep. I think because it has that slightly steeper angle is why. Where this one's a little more, less, the front's a little more like that, so it can get up on something tall. Where back here it doesn't matter, so it's just coming back around, so it's a little less. And I think that makes sense because that's how real tanks are. Do we get a move? Did we move a bit? Might have. Huh. That's another reason why I want to get them together so we can help them. Woo! You're top heavy, just riding on a skate. This way we can get. There we go. Everything to really cure up correctly. Keep on moving. Oh, that looks good. So then we'll try you. These probably should be better because I let them cure. This one here might have been the last one we just glued. There we go. I just want to start having everything set up. And I do have another. Oh man, that's looking great. The back view. Seeing treads there now. That's awesome. Yeah, I do. Yeah, you still got a little bit. I might be okay with that. You'd have more if it wasn't for hitting that detail part in there. That's what I think is going on. I think you would have a little more, but that's respectable. That's getting close to bottoming out in the back. So, yeah, we might be okay. That's respectable. That little bit of track movement's okay to me. That'll give me a, if it's on a weird terrain, that track will go up. Yeah, so no. It's just like they wanted you to print for the hinge for the ramp here, they had a file for a 2mm rod. I went and got a 2mm brass rod. That door will be heavy, and you know, I think just be better, more reliable. But yeah, here's what those came in. It'd be great if I can get both out of one of those, but I don't know, because that would be, if we just guesstimate, it would probably be there and probably to there. So we're going to want to be a little bit in. So those are about right there. So if we went to the width of this bed, I don't know if I can get 2 out of that. If I get both axles out of, yeah, 14.5 is the width of the bed. If I do 14.5, I can get both out of one rod. That'd be great, because I can always find some use for that other one. Should have went the other way, but guesstimate what we got going on here. Hopefully you'll go through here. There we go. Boink. That is sweet. Let's just get it all pushed together tight. It might still be curing in spots, and we can, yeah, but we got some good movement there. Yeah, even not as much on the front, because there must be a lower. Well, we got the back gives you a lot more, not so, and I think it's the shape of the tracks. But we do get some movement out of the front. And hopefully they'll work independent of each other. Yep. Sweet. But it's good to see it up on a track and let it cure and sit level. And that's where we'll end today. Letting this guy sit. But there it is with the tracks on. We just got to add the covers to them. Well, alright. We have a snowy January day today, so it's a good day for model building. Not much we can do until this snow stops. But what I did is I went and cut this pipe in half. Kind of in half, but cut it to fit. One of these pipes here did both axles. One of these. But it was lucky enough that one gave us enough, as you can see, for the 2. So I got a 20mm pipe for something else. I don't know, but I'm sure sometime that might come in handy. So, and then I slid the back tracks already in. I might not ever even glue those in. So I know I don't want them glued on now, because I'm going to need to pull this apart to get paint in there. It's already going to be fun enough just to get some in here, down in there, but if it's a little black and dirty, it's not a big deal. But we'll be able to get this side of the tracks, and because it still moves good, and you can still move them independently too. So might as well leave it alone. And the caps won't interfere with pulling them off, because they're on the outside, so that's awesome. It's always nice if anything breaks or anything needs attention, I can give it a detention. It needs. But alright, what track do we have here? This is the other side. So this is going to come in this way. And these have been getting better and better to fit. But another nice thing. Oh boy, look at the weight. The other nice thing is there's no wobble. Like I can move these side to side and there's no wobble. So that's a good thing. I didn't want wobble like this way. Alright, now let's see if everything's lining up between the two tracks. Oops, upside down. Between the two tracks for this one. We might have a little bit of a issue here. Be careful with this area yet there. Yeah, because she's wanting to push the axle through. So somewhere we're misaligned. You can't really see. So I might have to put it in that one first. Because it slid through the other one. That's got to go up like that. I guess not. Yeah, see, it's stopping at that other track. There it goes. I can use this other rod to clear any plastic that was in the way. Could be even glue too, because we did hit a little glue on those, where those pieces, these tunnels went together. Let's see if that fixed it. And we want to get you back a little more. There we go. And you go this way. That's all it needed. There's probably a little bit of glue. You've got to be careful where you grab here. But I tried to make them pretty much flush with that. With a little play. So that's great. Well, there she is. Axles are now officially all fit together. So that leaves us with getting these axle plates on, or the track plates, and we got to see which ones are what. That has the notch both on that side, so that's a pair, and then this one should have it on the opposite. Yep. And we got a little cleanup to do too, just probably with a razor blade. I know I was watching a guy, he said to get a deburring tool, and that gets rid of the brim stuff real easy, and I think I might look into one of those. But right now I just use this little flat razor blade, and it just grabs that and cleans it right up too. I do a lot of my filming ahead of time. That way, if for some reason I'm not feeling well, or you know, just personal things come up and need it, I don't have to. I can still get videos posted, and I don't have to worry about, oh, I need to get this part built and filmed so I can post them. I'm finding I have to vacuum a lot more now with these 3D prints. You end up carrying little squiggly stuff and chips of plastic everywhere. It's a lot more messier than out-of-the-box models, but it definitely makes you feel like you're more of a part of the build, I think. Anybody that says that it's not still model building, I don't know where they're coming from, because this is to me more like model building, because you're getting a kit that you actually have to print and do your own settings to get a quality print. Not much different than when they actually built the originals, you know, for the films. You have molds and casting molds and making sure all that stays at a quality. I printed myself a new toolbox, so it's always like when I'm reaching for a tool, it's like, okay, where are they now? You get used to the way you have things organized prior. But it was time to get rid of the old dollar store. It was like a round for brushes, which works great for that. But then I have a brush stand now. Mainly wanted to print a new toolbox because of I want to have files more readily available instead of what you always used to see me reach in that drawer. Where now I can, there they all are. And now I have more of the tools that I want out. Then I got some of these picks to clean stuff. Got them in a small and got them in real big, longer ones. We can start closing her up. Alright, I should have one of these already set with the right bit. Just to make sure the filament goes down in. Especially since we glued down in the other one. Well, I guess that's way on the other side. There we go. And now we got to drill these through, which is easier to start from the back because you can see the perfect little hole. And that's something I don't want to do, is drill holes in my mat. I did that with my old one. Doing all the falcon sconces in the hallway. Now, since we're not really drilling a hole, we're just kind of cleaning out a hole. I don't really need to push it down so hard. Boom. Like I said, you can see the holes. They're pretty closed up during the final covering. They might even cover over it purposely just to get it nice and smooth. But you can see the holes really good on the backside. You can see there. But on this side it's kind of covered with when it did the top layer there. Looks like this one had a little issue on its first layer. Didn't disform anything on the showy side, so that's cool. Alright. Fun with filaments. I should really have a heat gun and I can get rid of that curve. Don't need a lot of sticking out. I'm wondering if I should glue that in. Well, I'm thinking when I put a dab of glue in all these areas, I'll put it around all that, so. Yeah, because that's in there. Probably wouldn't hurt. Let's do like I said, it's always good to do dry fitting. And we know we're not sitting there with super glue raring to go and we can't get it glued in there. And this got a big glob on it. There we go. You can keep reusing these toothpicks. I just got to shave the old super glue right off. Looks like we had a little closure blockage here. There we go. Now maybe I can stick that in there and get a little glue on it. Don't need a lot. It's pretty tight hole. There we go. And we'll cut that off. There. And then this should poke through. Yep. Let's see if we got enough. The hard part is, like I said, with these sprues being, or these filaments having an arc from just being rolled up on a spool. Yeah, I knew this would be a problem. And it's hard to see. Where I need to be. There we go. So we're going to start with that one first. And like I said, once we get them down, I'm going to cut them to about the level of this gear, this wheel height. We'll pop it there, and I'll just hit it with a little heat, and hopefully push them over. I was wondering, I got like little samples of a filament. I wonder if I have a coppery or brass, silvery one that I could have put in there. I mean, I can paint all that anyway. Alright, so that one's raring to go. Do the same with this. Try to get a little glue. Alright, but it's time to pop them off and glue them. This one before was better starting off here, right? Yep. This one was kind of following the same suit. There we go. Oh, you weren't down all the way. That's why I felt squishiness. Alright, I think we can give a hopefully my plan works. Where I'll be able to make that look like a rivet, or some type of bolt. And then quick, we'll very carefully beautiful. That's helping clean up all the garbage I saw springing around. But yeah, it worked perfect. I could probably get that one a little more because it kind of self-tilted. That's it. Yep, and those now are rounded off. Yep, and those are the tracks, which looks so much better than that part. Oh yeah, now looking at it sitting down, it's much nicer, and we still got track movement. Very cool. Well, I'm just going to go through because this camera here has got about 4 minutes left. And the other side's just duplicating what we just did.